Natalie, what did you take from this hearing? Did it push the ball down the field at all?
Well, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I think we all know by now that you can do a lot of harm with the supposedly good intention of trying to protect people. So we have to be careful because, look, what happened with FTX is essentially what can happen when you mix human greed with, frankly, incompetence mixed with a blank check in a space that's full of these unregistered, opaque tokens that are the equivalent of counterfeit money. It is unethical to create a digital security, manipulate the price, dump it on the public, take depositors' money, lever it up at 100x, and go on a joyride of spending on political donations and real estate and what have you. So at the end of the day, this is really about the ethics of an individual as well as the space. I do what I do because Bitcoin is ethical money and it is a commodity controlled by no one. And I think everyone would benefit from regulatory clarity of what makes a digital security. How do you register one and what are the risks? Because that's what happens when someone purchases a stock, right? When people try to commit fraud in this space, send them to jail, lock them up. And when regulation does come, we need to make sure that the people writing these laws, like Elizabeth Warren, they can't upend people's freedom. Code is speech. Bitcoiners are really sounding the alarm on this bill because we have to remember that what separates America from authoritarian regimes like China and Russia is that defining value of individual sovereignty and freedom. And we have the right to ethical money, and we need bad actors to be held accountable.
Well, you make some excellent points there. Iran came into this discussion. North Korea did as well. You mentioned the politics. This 30-year-old wonder kid, right? He gave $40 million to Democratic candidates. We don't know how much money he gave to Republicans. He might be in New York, maybe in a month, couple weeks. Southern District, New York is the one that filed the charges against him. Here's the attorney on what they talk about. Dirty money involved here. Give this a listen.
All of this dirty money was used in service of Bankman-Fried's desire to buy bipartisan influence and impact the direction of public policy in Washington.
That money's gone. It's been spent. The election is over. We don't know if whether or not those funds can be repaid at all. But you raised the trap door about political influence and trying to buy it with dirty money, Natalie.
That's right. And ethics are not partisan. This really, for me, again, goes back to ethics. There's the right thing to do, and there's the thing that is selfish and greedy when you're ashamed that you trusted a bad person. So if I gave you money and you found out that money is stolen, the right thing to do is to turn it in, and hopefully it's returned to the person that I stole it from, right? And so President Biden especially needs to lead by example here because Biden appoints the person that leads the Department of Justice. So I think that any donated money needs to be returned, and it can't go to, organizations that the political parties now choose because they probably have cozy relationships with these organizations. Yeah. The money needs to go back to the bankruptcy trust. That's the ethical thing to do. And I think the American public would trust politicians more if they owned up when they made a mistake, they trusted the wrong person, and then they did what was right.
Natalie, thanks for coming on. Natalie Brunell, host of the Coin Stories podcast, available now. We'll talk again. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right.